So today we're actually going to be working on two different machines. Both of them have to work together to function. The first one we're going to be building is a Thermo-Electric boiler. The other one is going to be a steam turbine. That the boiler is going to put steam in, create steam and put it into the industrial turbine. That's what it's called. It's going to put steam into the industrial turbine, and that's going to create power. So this is a form of generator, basically. So this is what we're going to need. These do come in two different forms. These come in multiple sizes, anywhere from the industrial turbine has to be at least 5 by 5. You can go all the way up to 17 by 17 is its max size. The boiler that one's kind of different. It doesn't need a square. It can be any kind of shape you want, but the minimum is a 3 by 3, and max is 18 by 18. So if you want to make it, 18 by 5, you can. That one will work. The turbine casing or the turbine has to be a square. So that because the blades have to be in the middle. So when you in these boxes, you're going to see the different numbers on there. They are the lower number is the 5 by 5 for the turbine, or the 3 for the boiler. The larger number is the 17 by 17 for the turbine, and the 18 by 18 for the boiler. The boiler or the turbine can go up to, actually, they both can go up to 18 high. So that's taken into effect too for that last number. The minimum height for the turbine is 9, and I believe the minimum height for the boiler is very small. I think it's 4. Yeah, it's 4. So yeah. So the first thing we're going to use and what we're going to make is turbine casings. So this is going over the industrial turbine first. So you got steel ingots and osmium ingots. They're not that bad. The only thing is, this one is going to need the quantity. You need 130 to 117 or 1017. And that's because not only are you using it in the case itself, but you're using it to make other things. The next thing we're going to make is turbine valves. And you can see here, we're already using casings to make the valves. So you got the turbine casings and the advanced control circuit in the middle. This is on the right side. You can see how to make an advanced control circuit. Use a basic control circuit and infused alloys. That's how you make it. All right. You need 2 plus of those. So the minimum is 2, obviously, an input and output. But you can do more if you want to. If you have more places, if you want to output or input more, you can add more in. So for the turbine vents, these are going to be turbine casings. Like I said, you're going to need a lot of those, and iron bars. So for those, you'll need 32 to 585. Got the turbine rotors. This is the shaft that goes up the middle that the blades sit on. So sorry, let me fix that really quick. So you need infused alloy in the middle, and then steel ingots surrounding it. For that, you need 4 to 10. These are the blades. So you got infused alloy and steel ingots. You need 8 to 20. So each shaft of the rotor can hold two blades. So it has to fill 2 blades to be effective. So you double it, basically. All right. So the next is structural glass. We got steel ingots and regular glass. You can use regular glass or colored glass or whatever, just some form of glass. It can't be glass shards. It has to be a glass square. For that, you need 46 to 118. That's what surrounds the rotor section. We'll show that in a little bit. For the rotational complex, this is kind of the reader. This is what tells it how much power it's doing and all that. And this sits right on top of the rotor. So this you have infused alloys, steel ingots, and advanced control circuits. We've already showed how to make those, so I didn't put that in here. You only need one of those for all of them. The next is electromagnetic coils. You need gold ingots, an energy tablet. It does not need to be charged, and steel ingots. For this, you need 2 to 5. So for this, for every I believe it's for every 2 rotors, which is the shaft, every 2 rotors, you need an electromagnetic coil. So you need a minimum of 2, up to 5. The next is the pressure dispersers. These are what's going to separate the steam and the water in the machine. So you need steel ingots, iron bars, and infused alloys. You need 8 to 224 of those. Then the last thing we need is a saturating condenser. So that's going to be tin ingots, steel ingots, and a bucket. That's what's going to kind of hold the water after it goes through the pressure dispensers or dispersers. It's going to hold the water so it doesn't just go everywhere. It doesn't act as storage or anything. It's just kind of in the machine. But that you need 16 to 293. In the area when you get to the bigger sizes, like the 17 by 17 by 18, for the saturating condensers, you can there will be empty space, but you only need 293. That's the max amount of condensers before they become ineffective. So there's no point in making any more than that. There is allowed to be empty space in the turbine, as long as it's above the pressure dispersers, which we'll show here in a little bit. All right. So that's how you make the turbine, the industrial turbine. Now we're going to talk about the boiler. This is going to boil the water, create the steam. So for the first is boiler housings, kind of similar, except it uses iron ingots instead of the osmium. So you got steel ingots surrounding an iron ingot. That you need 29 to 456. Same thing as before. Other things that are going to be made, like the vents, are going to use the housings to make them. So speaking of the valves, here we go. We got the boiler casings surrounding the advanced control circuit. Looks the same. These machines were paired together to work together. So they kind of are similar. Again, if you forgot, that's how you make an advanced control circuit. All right, so you need 2 of those, but you can always add before. Pressure dispersers, same thing as before. They're the same, but you need 1 to 256. If you make the smallest, you only need 1. Make the biggest, 256. Then we need superheating elements. These are what's going to heat up the water and create steam. So we got redstone, copper ingots, and steel casings. For this, you need 1 to 256 plus. So when you make the 18 by 18 by 18 boiler, you use 256 of these elements, but you can always add more. You can stack them on each other. I haven't really played around very much to see if it makes it better or not, but I know if you do a basic layer of them, that's the minimum. It's 256 for the 18 squared unit. All right. So that's how you make the boiler. Now there is a couple other things that you'll need, just kind of side stuff. I recommend making an energy cube. It's just the easiest way to go. You'll actually need a couple of them. You'll need, I believe, a minimum of 1 or 2. If you can, make the more advanced ones, but they're more expensive. You'll need a resistive heater, and that's going to heat the superheating elements. That's going to power them. Um, you'll need a basic thermodynamic conductor for the resistive heater, and that's going to transfer the heat over. You'll need a few of those. All this you'll need a few of. Um, you'll need a basic pressurized tube to transfer the steam from the boiler to the turbine. You'll need a basic mechanical pipe or a few of them. That's going to transfer the water into the boiler. You'll need a few electric pumps to pick up the water and some water. Unless you're near a water source and you can pull from that, then do that. But otherwise, the easiest way, honestly, is to dig a hole and fill it with water, and then put the pumps on top. So yeah, that's pretty much all we're going to need for this project. So let's go ahead. First thing we're going to do is make a boiler. One thing you will need is structural glass for the boiler. I don't know why I didn't put that in there. Huh.
In for the thing.
Okay. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same recipe as the other one. You'll need a lot of it. So we're going to go ahead and build a 5x5 for both of them. I can build a 3x3 for the boiler, but I'm going to build a 5x5. You kind of want to match them up a little bit. The boiler needs to be able to support the the turbine. Thank you.
Got you.
A brain fart. Okay. Oh, real fart. All right, so so we're going to use boiler casings. In a 5x5. Okay.
All the base of them.
Yep, a full base. You will on both of these machines. There is some things that can be replaced, like you can replace the structural glass with a vent or a valve. Sorry, not a vent. You can replace it with a valve. That's fine. You can replace above the pressure dispersers. You can replace the walls with vents. You can put. There's some things you can play around with. The one thing that has to happen is the corners, all from the bottom all the way to the top, have to be the casings. Inside that, they can be whatever you want. 9. All right. So there's that. We're going to box this in to make the frame. All right, so that's our main frame for the boiler. And we're going to come down here. We're going to take the superheating elements, and we're going to place them on the inside of the frame. All right. So now we are going to... I don't need that right now. So we need to figure out where we want to put our pressure dispersers. It does matter where you put them. So the tank, and so when you look at this, there's different numbers. There's the amount of water it can hold versus the amount of steam it can hold and how it can control it and stuff like that. The higher you put the pressure dispersers, the more water you can hold, but the less steam. The lower you put them is the exact opposite. That means that the more steam, less water. So you kind of want to figure that out. You can play with it, but it can go anywhere in here. From right here down to I believe right there. Or right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it kind of in the middle. Oops, that's not what I want to do. So this is the same thing. It's going to be on the inside of the frame. So on this, we're going to have 9. And then we want to fill the entire side in with glass. This is a pretty basic structure. This is a multi-block structure. So if you don't know what that means, it means that it's not something that you can make on a table or on in a forge or anything like that. It's something you have to build in the real world. Once it's built correctly, it will become what it needs to be. All right, so there's that. And then we're going to go ahead and go up top and fill the top in with glass as well. And there it is. You can see the red stuff come off it. Let me do it again. And that's how you make the thing. There is a few things missing though. We need to be able to get steam out and water in. So we're going to break this block here, this glass block. Remember the bottom base has to be solid. So the glass block, and put a valve in. Then because we're going to build the turbine on this side, we're going to go ahead and go above the pressure dispersers. It has to be above because that's what a steam chamber is. Break that block and put in a valve. Fairly simple. All right. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and mess up your racetrack and dig a hole. And we're going to fill that hole with water. Okay. We're going to place pumps. Nope. Place pumps on top of it with their electrical side, which is the green square, facing outward. So depending on how much water your system is going to need, you need to make sure you put the pumps in for that. So the bigger boilers are going to need a lot more water. So they need a lot more pumps. So for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to be using Ultimate equipment, but you start out basic and then upgrade. So we're going to power. And then we're going to, so those are the universal cables. Then we're going to use the ultimate mechanical pipes and transfer the water. And that's going to go right into that port. You don't need to change the pull or push rate. It can be just like that. Now, like I said earlier, if you want to, a minimum is 2 ports or valves. You can always add more. So I can put another one there and then add in another pipe to have a little bit extra flow into that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave it just like that. This one's not going to need that much flow really, but that's what you can do. It still works. Okay, so now we're going to come over here. I'm going to place down some passive heaters, or some resistive heaters. I'm only going to do 2. These are going to create the heat needed. Again, they need power. They're going to create the heat needed to power the superheating elements. Then we're going to use the thermodynamic conductors to go in there and to go into there. These ones go directly into the side of the The casings, they don't need ports, they don't need valves, nothing. They just go directly in. All right. So there's that. Depending on your yes, and I know it's weird that it needs power to make power. That's whatever. But the turbine produces more power than is needed by these machines. So if you want to go into the menu on one of these units, so we can do this first one. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the bar next to the check mark and change that value. It needs more than 100 joules per tick to function. So normally what I'll do, you got to play around with this to see where your sweet spot is, how much power you have and all that. But you're going to type in, let's say 2000. That's 5 kilojoules. So it makes it run a little hotter. And it allows it to power this more to create more steam. The more heat you can get in there, the more steam, the more the turbine can work. All right. So besides power, that's pretty much how you make that. I'm not going to do power until we get the turbine set up. So now we're going to work on the turbine. We're going to set it right next to this so that we can just run the pipe straight over. So it's going to look kind of similar. We're going to do a 5x5. Oops. And these are turbine casings. Same thing with this one. And this has to be a minimum height of 9, just like the other one. Well, not just like the other one. I made this 5x5x9, which is the same footprint as this, but that one can be less. The boiler can be 3x3x4 is the minimum for that. But I figured I'd make it the same height. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, one too far on those. So then we're gonna wait on that. Actually, no, we're gonna go ahead and box this in. All right, and that's the main frame. So now we're gonna start filling it. So I'm gonna pause. I gotta take my dog out. So now that we got the main frame set up, we're gonna go ahead and put a few layers of glass in. First thing we're going to do before we do that, so we can actually have access to it, we're going to put in 4 turbine rotors, or the shafts. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to put the blades on. When you put the blades on, it doesn't matter where you put it on the shaft. It's going to drop it to the bottom and put them in order. So you can put it at the top, middle, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just right click and it'll put them on. So like I said, it's 2 per shaft, so you need 8 blades for this setup. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and fill up to that point. So 4 high with glass. Okay. So that's our turbine area. So the next layer up, we're going to grab our rotational complex and we're going to set it right on top. That has to be right up there. We're going to fill the rest of it with pressure dispersers. This whole layer has to be pressure disperser around the rotational complex. Not at the edges, just around it. So we're going to need 8 of them. Where are they? There they are. All right. And now we're going to place vents all around those on the edges. So remember what I was telling you about the replacing thing? Anywhere from this layer or at this layer up can be replaced with vents or casings. You will need more vents to vent things out, but so I just recommend doing all vents. But if you can't do that, do casings. But yeah, from the layer of the pressure dispenser and up can be vents or casings. All right, so that's that layer. Of course, except for the corners. The corners still have to be casings. So right above that layer, we're going to take the electromagnetic coil and place it right on top of the complex, rotational complex, and then we're going to take the other one and put it right next to it. There has to be directly above the rotational complex for at least one of them, and then the rest of them can go around that one. They have to be touching. So if you do 5 for the biggest one, the max is 5. You can do 1 in the middle and 4 on all 4 sides. That would be the easiest way to do it. Besides that, we're going to fill that entire area with saturating condenser. All right. And we're going to fill the outside edge with vents. All right. Now the next layer up is going to be all saturating condenser. All 9 spots. Nothing special there. And the outsides are going to be vents. Kind of seeing a pattern here, huh? All right. The top layer is all going to be vents. Has a lot of vents.
Vents for everyone.
Boom! And we got the red dust, meaning we made the machine. Of course, just like the other one, the machine is not complete yet. We still have to put in the valves. So we're going to have one valve on the side of the boiler, preferably in the same row. That way it makes it easier. And I'm going to set mine all the way at the bottom. Again, you can put more in if you want to run more pipes from the boiler to the turbine. You can run as many as you want, but it can be anywhere in that area. I'm also going to set one up front. That's going to be our power output. All right. So now we're going to just connect the hoses. So we're going to take the pressurized tubes because steam is a gas. And we're going to set it coming out of this over and up. Oops. And connect it into there. That's going to transfer our steam from the boiler to the condenser, or to the turbine. We're going to take that battery. The energy cube. Again, for this demonstration, I'm going to be using an ultimate, but you can start off with a basic. It doesn't matter. I'm going to set it right there. That's going to pull power out of that. It can also act as a distribution block. So you can take cables out of there and power things like the pumps. So when this can be completely self-reliant. It can power the pumps. It can also power the heaters to an extent if you're producing enough power. The last connection that we're going to do is we're going to use mechanical pipes, and we're going to place it right here. And what this is going to do is this is going to pull the excess water that it's turning from the steam back into water. It's going to pull it out of the top, and it's going to put it back into our pipes. This is going to save power on the pumps because it's going to be looping the water back in. It doesn't loop as much. It does use some of it, but it allows for it to kind of not be as heavy with the power for the pumps. So we're going to go over here. Oops. And just pipe that right into there. Okay. So that is how you make the turbine. Now all we have to do is power the pumps and the heaters, the resistive heaters. So for this, I'm going to be using an energy, but you can use wind turbines, solar panels, heat generators, coal generators, anything that produces power can do these. And like I said, eventually this can be somewhat self-sustaining. So stupid zombie. So eventually you can pipe the power from the turbine to the pumps and to the heaters, and it will allow it to be more efficient. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and set it right there. That's going to start heating things up. And if you notice, if you click on the boiler, you can see the temp is rising actually rather quickly. All right. Personally, I like to keep that on Fahrenheit, but you do what you want. All right, so now it's time to introduce water. So that's going to power those. So now it's filling with water. It has a 99 mega bucket per tick rate, oil rate. And you can see there is steam transferring in to the turbine. The turbine blades aren't moving right now because low amount of steam. But if you open up the battery, where you at? If you open up the battery and highlight the graph, you can see we are getting power. Also, if you look on the machine itself, the turbine, you can see there is steam going in. We're getting, it's producing 2.82 kilojoules, and the flow rate is 99 megabuckets per tick. It has much more capacity, much more flow available to it. It's just kind of weak right now. What I can also do, if I have the power, is I can go over here and I can set these all the way up. So like for me, I just, inside the search bar, I just put all mine. So that's maxed out. It goes up to 24.99 megajoules per tick. That is a lot of power. But it's also a lot of heat. So if you look at the machine, the boil rate right now is massive. It's boiling a lot of water. It's still filling enough because we have plenty of pumps. And now if you come over here, you can see the turbine is now running. Because we're pumping so much more steam into it, it's now running the turbine. We're also producing a lot more kilojoules. I'm going to go ahead and set that to dumping excess so it doesn't back up. And it's getting a lot of steam in there. Our battery is already full. This little battery, and this is an ultimate battery. It's already full. So what we can do now is of course, that's because I've cranked those things so high. Do that and get rid of that. Now it's powering the pumps all on its own. It's still filling the battery plenty, and it's working the pumps. I don't think it has enough power to power these. Oops, what am I doing? But we can try. Yeah, no. It doesn't have enough power to power those, meaning the steam is going to run out soon and this whole system is going to shut down because it can't heat the unit. You see the turbine's already pretty much stopped almost. So I'm going to go ahead and put that battery back. But if you make a bigger unit, a more powerful unit, oh yeah, look how fast that thing's spinning. If you make a more powerful unit, then it can produce plenty more power. Like this is producing 1.4 megajoules right now. It can store 3.6 gigajoules. But the thing is, once it stores it, once it gets up to its max storage, it's going to stop running because it can't do anything else unless that power is being used, which is going to back up the boiler and it's going to overheat it. Actually, it's already overheating right now. So it still has plenty of water. It's still filling with water, but it's low on water. How we can combat that is we can go ahead and put speed and energy upgrades into the pumps, and that will allow for more water to be going in. Like I said, it still has water in it. You can't see it. It's very low, but in the graphs you can see it. And yeah, oops, got trapped. One other thing you can do is take another turbine valve. So I can go ahead and pop this side open. Of course, it's going to stop. Put another valve in there and then put another power cube on here. And what that's going to do is it's going to take all the extra power it's creating and pump it out. Meaning it's not going to stop. It's not going to back up. This is a creative cube, but you can use you can make full battery banks with this if you want, and charge them. So it's not storing the power now inside of the machine. Therefore, it's not going to stop or slow down. Still have plenty of water going in. We got about 50,000 mega buckets per tick. And that's our boil rate. It's still producing plenty of steam. And the machine is still running fine. So yeah. So that's how you make the Thermo-Electric boiler and the industrial turbine. These are great ways to produce power. There are other ways that are more efficient, like a fusion reactor, but those are a little bit more advanced. But yeah, that's pretty much it for these units. This is close to the bare basic. Like I said, the boiler can be smaller, but this is the bare basic for the turbine. Now, what we can do is come over here. This is going to get very loud. Those heaters create a lot of noise. These are maxed out. This is absolute max size for both of these units. Again, if you want to back up here, it's a little not as loud. On the boiler, you can adjust the amount or where the pressure dispersers are at to create more water or more steam. But overall, this is maxed out for this unit. But yeah, so this is powering its own pumps, all of them. All of them have speed and energy upgrades. And then if you come around back, this is the heating bay. Now, this is complete overkill. But you need a lot of power to power those heating elements. If I wanted to, I could add more to this. I could make more steam, but I don't see a point. I'm already producing 40.25 megajoules of power, which is plenty. My max storage on this machine is 83 gigajoules. So this produces a lot of power. I have it piped in to power those heaters, but it can't produce that much power. So the heaters have to be powered by a battery. And like I said before, on this side, I have a cube in here just pulling excess power out. That's it. That's all. That's its whole job. It's not powering anything. It's not doing anything. It's just pulling excess power out. There is one caveat with this machine. Like I said before, you could have there's space up top. So up here under these vents, there's a good amount of space. If you notice the yellow dots on the map, on the mini map, some creatures spawned in there because it's very dark. So yeah, there's some mobs in there, but unfortunately, they don't get burned or steamed to eat or anything like that. But whatever. That'd be awesome if the steam came up and steamed them.
They're creepers. All 3 of them. Creepers.
Good idea. Oh, there's a spider.
Oh! I came in right on top of it. Hi!
Yep. But yeah, so this is 2 layers of saturating condensers. This is over what you need. This is about, I think, 400 and something saturating condensers. When you only need, I think it was 293. So yeah, this is a little bit over what you need. But I wanted to make a solid floor. That's literally the only reason why I filled it. But yeah, there can be space in there without an issue. It doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't stop anything. It just causes mobs to spawn.
Your head was on backwards
And
for
yeah.
a moment.
Let me fix that. Crack my neck.
Yeah.
So yeah, so these 2 things are creating plenty of power to power almost anything that you want. So thanks for watching the video. Hope this helped you build your power stations. And yeah. Later.